Hello, and thank you for having me. I'm not as well versed at speaking as the two before me, but my name is Sparky Atkinson, and my son Noah is with me tonight. And we are extremely grateful to share our story with you about how Anderson Music Therapy has impacted our lives. Noah is a high functioning 13-year-old with autism, and he also has mood disorders. So communicating is a real issue. We have not had much success in the 13 years prior being able to communicate and keep meltdowns from happening, to keep from windows not being broken, walls kicked in. A lot of that comes from anger, from not being able to communicate, stuff that we take for granted. And not being able to communicate feelings such as joy, love, appreciation, empathy really leaves you feeling helpless as a parent. As he has grown and gotten older, the tension of not being able to communicate properly has led to many overwhelming physical and mental meltdowns. For instance, last summer, he was having a horrible meltdown that led to us having to call the police because we couldn't communicate properly to see what the root of the issue was. And so we were in a parking lot at Roanoke College, and so the officer came and was able to take Noah to the side, and I was just feeling completely defeated as a father, and so he was able to talk to Noah, and Noah was able to tell him after he asked, what's really scaring you? What's the point in all this destruction? And he said, well, I'm afraid to go home to the people that could be living in my basement. And so when the officer came back, he asked me, he said, are there people living in your basement? I immediately broke down because about a month before, we had had meth addicts break into our home. And they completely vandalized the home in so many ways that I can't describe over a meal. And I thought that when I went in that night after all the police had left, that, of course, the house was ransacked, but I didn't see the full extent of it. So the next day I brought Noah in. Of course, his eye sees all of it. And the extent of the damage was much worse than we could have ever imagined. And because of that fear, all that time leading up to this one meltdown was all stemming from the break-in. We couldn't communicate. I didn't know. I was trying. But being a father and having a busy life and a business to operate, certain things just slip through the crack, and we think that we communicate properly, and we really don't. Or I don't. He had no way to control his anxiety and anger through this until we were able to start Anderson Music Therapy. Changes weren't immediate, and I was getting frustrated because we're in therapy 4 or 5 days a week. And I could see no improvements. Because of my frustration, I wasn't seeing the improvements. And the improvements were that he was able to start listening to certain musics. And through those music that he was listening to, that we were playing through the house, I could tell how his mood was and how his feelings and what was going on with him. So therefore, I was able to communicate with him on a much deeper level. And so the gratitude that I have just from that one thing alone, to foster communication for a parent to a child is huge. Because that is our legacy. Our children are our legacy. And we want the best for them. He works with a lady named Miss Lillian. And through Miss Lillian's patience and hard work, passion, she was able to connect with Noah. And now we are able to understand Noah and connect with him all through sound, just from sound. From different levels, different frequencies. We're all made of sound. We're all made of a frequency. And through Anderson Music Therapy, we've been able to find that sound. Now the sound changes depending upon what's going on that morning, or 4 o'clock in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning sometimes. But we're grateful. But because of that, he's been able to relax and have comfort and dealing with the overwhelming anxiety within the home, because pulling up to the home for the first few months, he would get out of the car. Just the shock and the fear and the anger that I dealt with because I thought I was doing everything I could to protect him, but you can't in so many ways. But having the ability to communicate and talk through it and work through those problems is key. And we take it for granted. I take it for granted. What the communication has really done with me and Noah is it allows us to achieve peace in our home. And a lot of that we take for granted as well, peace. And just being able to come in and fix dinner, watch a movie, sit down and just chill. And with us, that doesn't happen like that. Simple tasks, taking showers, brushing teeth, all leads to meltdowns a lot of times because of things that he's dealing with that if he could have just had his sound and his songs play, that those issues wouldn't be an issue. You just fall right through the day, and you take a lot of those for granted. Just for another example, I would, just to get him to school in the mornings, it would take me 2 hours after dropping him off at school before I could even talk to anyone because of the shell shock that you deal with on a daily basis. And so, because we had no way to communicate, there was no way to get in, and I was trying to just lead by, because I knew I couldn't talk to communicate. And so for the past few years, I've just been trying to lead by example and just show him. And so that's all I had until now. And I can't think of a better organization to get behind than one who can foster peace and love that's deep within your home, that goes far beyond these walls, is huge. I couldn't ask for more. I really couldn't. Of course, we want changes to be immediate, but immediate changes really usually don't stick. These are sticking, and the growth that we have witnessed over the past 6 months has been huge, especially because we're working into the teenage years, and all that goes with that. And it's really been a crucial tool for us. But through that, I've also realized how sound affects mental health and the issue that we're dealing with in these days of mental health and mental illness. And the need for music therapy, Anderson Music Therapy, 5 Points, is dire. To be able to come to Parkway and listen to these guys, huge. I take Noah, and so now he looks to these guys. And so he's happy, immediate, dead reckoning, floorboards, whoever, Parkway. So that's a huge connection for us. People think, oh, you're taking him to a brewery. We go there and sit, and we talk, and the people are so good. You guys are incredible. I couldn't ask for a better environment to bring him in. And I also want to thank the families of the people who work here. You guys sacrifice a lot so that we can have peace in our homes. That means the world to me. I can't thank you enough, and I can't thank Tyler enough. You've taken me in like family. I owe you so much. I can never repay you for all you've done for me. And if there's anything I can do for any of you guys, I'm here. I just have a little shop in Salem, but I'll be glad to help do anything I can for what you do for me and my son and supporting this cause. I really appreciate it. Thank you very much.